Okay, I've already given a simple example of how trading the actual currency works. So, okay, let's use an example of a trade and closing out a trade. So let's say you have, let's say you buy one lot and you actually have £100,000, and you do a trade on the market. You exchange this for $120,000. So why would you do this? So so your aim is that you later on you want to convert this $120,000 back into pounds, and you want to make a profit. So this is to be higher, right? So if you can hold on to dollars, that your view is the dollar will strengthen, right? So if the rate is 1.2, this is pounds. Well, $1.2 to £1. You want the dollar to strengthen. So at the end of the strengthening, so this rate's going to fall. So let's say it goes to 1.10. So then you have $120,000. You convert it at the rate, if you're correct, right? If your position is correct, you convert it back to pounds, and I have to work this out. So if you convert it back at this rate now, it's going to come down to roughly at £109,000. You know, I'm rounding up here. So here, based on your starting position and the end position here, you made a profit of £9,000. Okay, this is 9% of your initial position. And if you're wrong, you know, you've taken a position on dollars, so the dollars can weaken. So let's say the rate goes to, if it weakens, this rate is going to go higher. Let's say it goes to 125. So when you convert your $120,000 back into pounds at 125, you're going to get something like £96,000. Right, so based on your starting point, you're 100, you've gone down to 96, so you've made a loss of £4,000. So you can see how your profit and loss is based on actual transactions, right? You've actually got to buy currency, and then so if this is your first transaction, right, if this is your second transaction, your profit and loss is actually realized only after the second transaction, right? Otherwise, you've got a position in dollars, and if you need to keep money in dollars, you can just keep it in dollars. Your profit or loss is really only actualized once you convert it. Because some investors, you know, they might want to hold on to dollars for a time. They might have to make a payment in dollars, so they might not have an issue with holding on to dollars for some time. But you have to do 2 transactions to make a profit or loss, right? So you're buying and selling currency, and you make a profit based on the actual movement in the underlying FX rate, but it's affected in the actual amount of cash that you hold, right? If you start off with 100 and you know the rate moves with you, you can make a 9,000 profit. So your balance is now 109,000, right? But if you make a loss, if the rate moves the other way, you can lose 4,000. So your balance will be 96,000, right? So you're actually buying things and the price is going up or down. So this is a bit like buying shares, right? You're using money to buy shares and the price goes up or down. Right, so this is very different to trading CFDs on retail, because you know we've talked about having an exposure of 100,000. You can do this with, you know, if your leverage is 1,000, you can do it 100. Right, if your leverage is 100, you can do it £1,000. Right, so here to get exposure of one lot of 100,000, you need cash of 100,000, then you end up with cash, either a profit or a loss. But here in CFD trading, you don't need the cash. You only need 100 or 1,000 based on the leverage. That's 100 there. Okay, so you can see the immediate difference. You take positions with cash, limited on the amount of cash that you have. If you have £100,000 cash, you can't take a position of 200,000. You just can't, because you don't have the money. And if you have the money, then you can. But with the CFD, you know, with £100, you can take a position of 100,000 or similar according to your leverage. So there is a huge difference, and I hope that's clear to those who are watching this. That either you buy and sell the currency, and so this currency, right? So let's look at the first transaction. So you convert your pounds into dollars here. So this dollars, you're not obliged to do this second transaction. You can take these dollars and you can go on a holiday. You can withdraw them, right? It's your money. You can spend it, right? So compare this to a CFD. When you're in a position, as I described a few minutes ago, you can't withdraw your money. You can't withdraw your exposure of 100,000 because you've only got 100 and a leverage of 1,000. So all you can do is withdraw 100, but you can't even withdraw your 100. In order to withdraw your 100 after you've taken a position, you've got to close your position. And then whatever's left, your 100 might be 105 or might be 95 if you made a profit or a loss, and that's what you get. With real Forex transactions, you have currency after each transaction. If you've converted your dollars, your pounds to dollars here, this is your money. You're not obliged to do the second transaction. You can take your money off the trading platform, back from the broker or the investment bank that's doing it on your behalf, and you can spend it. But you can't do it here. You can only do the second transaction in CFDs to close your position, and you get the net amount. Right? This is because your CFD is just a position. It's not real money. It's just a position. So what products are traded as a CFD? So let's take a look at some of the brokers' pages, right? So I've just Googled the largest brokers by volume. So this is US Forex brokers. So if we click on forex.com, so that's the website here. So I mean, this is a lot of marketing. So I just want to see how often they refer to CFT. So I think it's a couple of places here. So one is based on CFD spreads. So this talks about, they say they're one of the largest CFD brokers. So based on CFD spreads. But often if you go to the bottom of the page, because these are often regulated entities, right? So they have to make certain disclosures. Here we go. In the footer, right? So CFDs are complex instruments. So this means they trade CFDs. It doesn't mean everything they do on everything that they trade is CFDs, but they do at least some CFDs. So here, and they have to disclose what percentage of retail investors lose their money. So with this provider, this broker, 72% of retail investors lose their money. So brokers, they tend to have to do this depending on which country they operate in. In the UK, they have to do it, and in the US. So the numbers I see, I've never seen one below 70%. There's between 70 and 80% is normal, but I think the number's even higher. So they talk about CFD. Here we go. CFD and Forex trading are leveraged products. So I've talked about leverage and what it is. And if leverage is mentioned, it's a CFD. You're not actually buying currency through the traditional foreign exchange markets if you use leverage. You're just buying a position. And here they talk about the risks, right? You've got to read the disclosure. And then this is some other disclosure. Okay, so what do they trade in CFDs? So did they give an example here? What platforms they have trading? No, markets. So they trade Forex. Okay, so these are some Forex currencies here. These are all on CFD. Bitcoin, I don't know if that's a CFD. Bitcoin is slightly different depending on which exchange or broker you're using. But gold and silver, these are through CFDs. Indices are through CFDs. Shares, they're not necessarily CFDs. You can actually trade underlying shares. Commodities are CFDs. Cryptocurrencies may or may not be CFD. So let's look at another one, Oanda. So here you go. Did you? This is revolving, right? But did you see it started off? So we do all things CFD. So it should come back to CFD. Why is it not? Let me reload it. There you go. We do all things CFDs. So they make it clear that they trade CFDs. So CFD trading, currency converter solutions for business. So there's nothing else to do with trading on these three, right? This is a currency converter. It's a tool. This is a tool. But when you look at trading, they only mention CFDs, right? So this applies to me. Pretty much everything they trade here is CFDs. So indices, Forex, these are currency pairs. Commodities, gold and silver, for example, and oil. Metals and bonds. So they trade these via CFDs. Now let's go down and look at their disclosure. So I'm on a UK website because obviously I'm in the UK. So I know that if these are regulated, then these have to provide certain information. So if we scroll down, okay. I didn't see the disclosure of how many of their clients, what percentage of clients make a loss. Okay, this service is provided by Oanda Corporation for the currency converter, not for CFDs. Okay, so I can't see a disclosure. I'm not going to look at in a lot of detail of the website, but I can't see the disclosure for how many. Oh, sorry, here it's right on the top of the page. I wasn't even paying attention. They have it as a header here. So 73.5% lose money when trading CFDs. And you see this first sentence here, CFDs are complex instruments. Okay. You can lose money rapidly due to leverage. Okay. You should consider whether you understand how CFDs work. And this is the thing. I mean, I'm asked by many Muslims, it's Forex trading halal. And I tell them, the vast majority of cases you're trading CFDs. So, and they don't, the next question I get is what is a CFD? How does it work? So if you don't know what CFDs are, what can I say? I mean, even these platforms, they tell you should understand how CFDs work. So you're trading without knowledge. And if you're trading without knowledge, that's a good way to lose your money. Then I would say, why are you wasting time even asking if it's halal or haram? Because you're just going to lose your money, whether it's halal or not. Right? If you're going to trade something, you don't know what you're trading, you're just going to lose your money. So the question of halal or haram, I mean, even if it's halal for you, right, and you're trading CFDs and you don't know what they are, you're going to lose your money. Right? So why are you asking anybody if it's halal or not? You just give your money to charity if you go to trade CFDs ignorantly. So let's look at what they say in the trading of the CFDs. Okay, trade the UK 100. So this is a UK index, a Germany index to give an indication of their spread. You can trade currency pairs, euro dollar, euro GBP, and the pips spread. And so they talk about spreads. So these are all these are currency pairs. Retail margin rates, view all pairs. Okay, maximum leverage, margin reflective of max 30-to-1 leverage. So here they talk about the margin required on a 30-to-1 leverage. So that may be the maximum they give. I think in the UK they're a bit more conservative, but I still thought that they would offer 50-to-1 leverage. Let's look at the third one on this list, interactive brokers. So let's just see what they trade, lowest cost, blah, blah, blah. Accept cookies. Okay, so I'm not saying everything the brokers do are CFDs, because they don't just do CFDs. But whenever I've seen Forex trading, it's always been CFDs. But nowadays the brokers offer much more than Forex. But even a lot of what they offer is still CFDs. Okay, let's look at the warning. Yeah, trading on margin only is for sophisticated investors with high risk tolerance. You may lose more than your initial investment. Right, so can you imagine that? I mean, you may lose more than your initial investment, which is true. I mean, even if you're buying shares, let's say you buy, if you buy any shares, let's say it's $1,000 for a share, and the company goes bankrupt, it collapses, there's nothing left. You're going to lose your $1,000, right? The price will go to zero, worst case scenario, but you can't lose more than you invested. But with CFDs, you can. You can lose more than you invested. So this is through leverage and margin trading. Compare that to buying real assets, even foreign currency. If you do a real foreign exchange transaction, we talked about converting £100,000, $120,000. If you do that, and if for some reason, I'm just saying theoretically, if the dollar goes to zero, then you've lost all your money in dollars. It's worth zero, but you can't lose more than you invested, right? That's a physical impossibility with real assets, but with CFDs, yeah, it says, look, you may lose more than your initial investment. So this tells you how risky it is, because it's not a real asset you're investing into. You're just gambling. Okay, and this is interactive broker. This is the information. Let me just have a. You may lose more than initial investment. You may lose more. Okay. So let's look at the trading. Let's see what they offer. Margin products. Okay. Okay, that failed. Okay, that's not, something's wrong. I don't know. I'm sure my internet's okay. So let's look at AvaTrade, which is another big one. So I just want to have a look now at the breadth of things that they trade. So here you see at the top, CFD trading cryptocurrencies. What is this? Okay, so they're Forex trading and CFD trading. So all of these are CFDs. You know, with AvaTrade, I know they are. I mean, all the brokers, when they offer currency pairs, is CFD. So they have a different heading for CFD trading. What are CFDs? So indices are generally always CFD. ETF trading, that's interesting. So they offer it through CFD. They don't need to be CFD, of course. You can actually buy the underlying ETF. Commodities trading is through CFD. Bonds trading or stock trading. So stock trading doesn't need to be CFD. So this is why people ask me, can I trade stocks as well? So my question is, you know, just check your broker. If you're going to use a broker, check what they do. If they do CFD trading on stocks, then you can't. But if they actually buy and sell the underlying stocks, then maybe you can. Okay, so here, currency pairs. These are all CFDs. Okay, let's see what commodities they do. So crude oil, this will be on a CFD. Gold, soybean, natural gas, heating oil. These are all CFDs. Indices are these are all CFDs. There's no other way to do it. So they do options as well. So, you know, generally options are not Sharia compliant. ETFs, if you buy the underlying, it is permissible potentially if the ETF is permissible. But if you're trading a CFD, then you can't. So bonds. So these bonds, I think they indicated that bonds are on CFD, so that's not permissible. But bonds pay interest anyway, so you can't invest in them. And cryptos, you have to be careful. You have to understand what the broker's doing. So Bitcoin here, for example, what price is this? Bitcoin Cash. Okay, so I'm not sure how they, because obviously the Bitcoin price is $9,000 or something. So I'm not sure how they, I don't know if this is an ETF. Okay. BCH USD. So you have to, with cryptocurrencies, you have to check with the broker, are you actually buying the underlying currency or you're trading a CFD on the currency? Yeah, this is the price I was expecting on Bitcoin. So even when the price is here, so I don't know if this is CFD or if you're buying underlying Bitcoin, you'd have to check the details with each broker that you want to potentially trade with. Gosh, I'll do that. AvaTrade is partner of Man City. If I knew that, I wouldn't have come to this website. Okay, yeah, blah blah blah. So let's just look for the. There you go, regulatory disclosure. CFDs are complex instruments, so I'm just here. Complex instruments, high risk of losing money rapidly due to leverage. 79% of retail investors lose accounts when trading CFDs with this provider. You should consider whether you understand how CFDs work. Okay. So how do you know if I'm trading a CFD? So, you know, there's no point asking somebody, you know, I get plenty of questions saying, Safta, is this a CFD? And you know, it's a pointless question. You have to understand yourself. You have to ask your broker, because, you know, there are hundreds of brokers, right? And each one trades things differently. So you have to ask your broker, is this a CFD? Right? If you're trading currency pair, for example, I mean, I know if you're trading any currency pair, GBP, USD, for example, ask them, is this a CFD? I mean, they have to say yes. There's no other way to do it. But if you're trading gold, ask them, is this a CFD? I mean, often it is, yes. If you're trading oil, I mean, there has to be a CFD, because I explained, you know, you're not taking physical delivery of oil, are you? And even oil under commodity markets or oil futures. So ask your broker, is this a CFD, if you're unsure of anything. Indices will be CFDs pretty much. Equities potentially. So this can be yes or no. Is it a CFD? So it can be a CFD, just like you take a position on anything with like with a CFD without owning the underlying, and you have leverage and margin and so on. Or you can actually buy the equity. Some brokers let you do this. So if you can buy the equity, then it's potentially halal, right? So then you have to look at screening. It has to pass some kind of screening. Okay, so how do you try to work out whether something is halal or not, or whether something's a CFD or not? So ask your broker first. I mean, you really have to ask them. I mean, I've asked brokers. I mean, I've always known the answer because I know how brokers work, but for benefit of other people, I've asked them. You know, especially, I'll come on to this later, but the ones who say they offer Islamic accounts, you know, I've emailed them and I said, do you offer, are these CFDs? And they say yes. So ask them, They won't lie to you. Then they're not allowed to lie. They have to disclose, and there's nothing to lie about. CFDs are not illegal. They're not wrong. The only thing is in Islam, right? In Sharia law, they're not halal, according to scholars who know what they're talking about. So but on their own, they're not illegal. They're just risky. So there's nothing for them to hide. They'll just tell you. But how do you spot if you're potentially trading a CFD? Look at leverage. If leverage is used, then this is a big clue. It's a CFD, right? And look at margin. If you're trading on margin, this is a big clue. This is CFD. Look at your statement. When you have screenshots of trades, right? Some people who post on social media, people who want, try to scam you, and they show you that they've made lots of money and they have the balance in this. And it has margin, right? It has margin, it has free margin, and it has numbers here. So once you have margin, you're trading CFDs. Look at your balance. Open your account with your broker if you have one, or a demo account, and just look at it. And if it mentions margin and free margin, this is a very good sign. You're trading on CFD. If it mentions leverage, it's very, very likely you're trading CFDs. Yeah, ask your broker. Clues include margin, leverage. You need none of these things if you buy the currency or the asset. Right, so let me reiterate this point. If you actually are buying the underlying currency, even that statement makes no sense, because in order to buy currency, you've got to sell currency. So you've got to have currency. Let's say you've got £100,000 and you want to convert it to $120,000. Then you need this in your account. You've got to have an account with a credit amount of £100,000. And then when you buy this will be your credit amount, right? So the concept of leverage, it doesn't even exist in genuine FX markets, in genuine FX transactions, which are a spot, which institutions do, and genuine players in the foreign exchange markets. They don't need leverage. They just buy and sell the currency they want, and they don't use margin, right? This concept doesn't exist, right? So for real trading, you don't need these, but when you see these languages used, these are very big clues. These are CFDs, and this is what we see in the retail Forex market.